Hey, Aster here, and this was definitely the first time that I pressed record. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about my speculations and theories about what the 3.4 version is going to have for us. And just a little bit of a thing, this is going to be a new kind of series format. I don't know. This is just going to be a new kind of video format for me, as I'm going to be doing a little bit of a reactions type of content because it's kind of fun. Plus, I'm testing out this new PNG tuber on the side. This was made by IWOSE from PICREW, which is just a placeholder for a commission that I'm planning to have. And I'm using Vidum Tuber Mini. And honestly, that's about it. So let's talk about 3.4. I'm actually super excited for 3.4 compared to most of the other patches because 3.4 is one of the patches that I think we're going to get a lot of lore, potentially, of course, about the goddess of flowers, which in turn is about Celestia. And I love myself some good old Celestia lore. Now, if you don't remember, there is a new location that is basically dedicated to King Deshret and the goddess of flowers. This is the this is a new desert area that is coming out for Sumeru, and I am going to just absolutely cry if they have more information about the Flowers of Lost Paradise, which I will be breaking down later. So first and foremost, of course, we're going to be starting off this year with a bang with the Lantern Rite Festival. You can never go too wrong with Lantern Rite Festival, and they reference basically the Iridescence Tour, which was a tour that was mentioned in 2.2 a long time ago that I think Shinyan was supposed to go to. That's why she wasn't in Azuma for the Shikitaisho event. And we have Yao Yao. Something really funny actually about Yao Yao was that if you're new to Genshin Impact, and I can assume that a lot of my audience is actually pretty new to Genshin, Yao Yao has been here for several years. Yao Yao is one of the characters that has actually been shown in the Lantern Rite Festival, but just never came out, which was really weird. And she was never mentioned in a cutscene. Like, she never had a model that we saw. She was just mentioned in voice signs, I think, from Ganyu, and I think Beidou also mentions her. I'm not quite sure. I don't quite remember. But it's kind of funny that Leeway characters did mention her, but she was just not real in the game for 2 whole years. So I'm so happy that finally got to pay off. And here she is in all of her cute Denjo glory. Also, apologies for the quality of the video in the background. My PC might disappear if I ever try to raise it to 1060p while I'm recording this. Apologies. I love Hu Tao. I'm so happy that this is going to be a Hu Tao event. And can I just say this? For 3.4, I really hope that we get a focus on Xiao and Hu Tao and Yelan. I really hope that the people that they actually show in the cover art of the Exquisite Night Chimes are the people that we're going to be focusing on. Imagine if, I think I already know this, but Xiao got his own little teaser demo for the story. If it turns out that we don't actually hang out with Xiao and it's just before where there were 3 voice lines, I'm going to be very livid if that's the case. So, hope not, you know. But yes, the Exquisite Night Times is just the usual Lantern Rite event, and I hope that this is going to be the start of a fantastic year. And now we move on to the lore part, which I'm actually pretty excited, and I actually have a lot of thoughts about. The 6 cardinal sins. Alright, let's start with that one. The 6 cardinal sins is something that was mentioned in the Sino story, and the 6 cardinal sins are the limitations put by the previous Sumeru Academia, or at least a very ancient part of Sumeru Academia that was... Basically, the 6 cardinal sins are the limitations of humanity when it comes to knowledge, and this was dictated by a previous iteration of the Sumeru Academia, the ancestors of the Academia that we see today. What is fascinating about these 6 cardinal sins is that the Matra are actually supposed to punish people that commit these sins in the first place. And that's why Sino references it in his story and says that while the current academia no longer upholds the 6 cardinal sins, or at least doesn't really respect it to the degree that the previous academia did, Sino as a general Mahamatra, as his own personal principles, still respect it even to this day, which is a very fascinating thought. So the fact that the 6 cardinal sins are going to have have a play in maybe al-Haytham's story quest is very fascinating because they actually give you a lot of context on what humanity probably did in the past that would warrant the nails. And what is also fascinating is that I wonder if these 6 cardinal sins are directly connected to the civilizations that had the celestial nail. I don't remember if this was ever mentioned in the live stream, so please have mercy. But I hope that the new location that we're going to get in the desert has the first ever celestial nail. If you look at the story of, I think it was Lay of Al-Ahmar, you're going to see the story of one of the first ever celestial nails that ever befell upon Tevat. And if we ever do see a celestial nail in the desert, that was the nail that caused the sandstorms and the desert to even be a sandstorm in the desert in the first place, because there was a time that the desert area of Sumeru was actually just as green and lush as the original part of Sumeru, which is why it's kind of curious that they're completely 2 different biomes, even though they're just one country, which is pretty cool. So yeah. And the fascinating thing is that if we do ever find a celestial nail in Sumeru, it's going to connect directly to what happened in Dragon Spine, which was the very first time we saw a celestial nail. The Dragon Spine was once a very lush, a very verdant green part of Mondstadt that just turned into this tundra of ice and snow, which is a very fascinating thing. When the nail that froze the world descended suddenly. There you are. So basically, the nail, whenever it drops into Tevat, just completely changes the biome. And I don't know, that sounds pretty cool. And I hope that it also ties into another piece of lore that I'm going to talk about later. But let's watch the trailer. Let's continue. Ooh. This looks like the chasm. Oh, so this is the domain. This is the domain for al-Haytham, I think. You're coming, must first. Oh, she is pretty. Wait, she's hot. I respect hot characters. So, this next one is actually what I really wanted to talk about because this place is dedicated to the goddess of flowers that was created by King Deshret. Now, if you don't know who the goddess of flowers is, it's one of the 3 gods of Sumeru that was mentioned in the Archon quest, and she was one of the first of the 3 gods of Sumeru to die. The 3 gods of Sumeru are the Greater Lord, or the Lord of the Forest, as she is now called. We also have King Deshret, and then we have the Goddess of Flowers. And I hope that this place, this world quest, ties in with the Flowers of Lost Paradise. Basically, the Flowers of Lost Paradise is it's the artifact set whose story talks about King Deshret from the perspective of the Goddess of Flowers. And the Goddess of Flowers is surprisingly very knowledgeable about Celestia. She warns King Deshret. It's basically a divine punishment for those civilizations that are too knowledgeable. And she also warns King Deshret not to seek out the Master of the Four Shades, or Fanis as we know from the book Before Sun and Moon, and that there used to be other creatures from other distant worlds or planes or spaces that would go into this world, and she would call them as invaders, and that the Master or whatever is up there, maybe Celestia, punishes them, which is a very fascinating thing, because that means that if we're going to get more Goddess of Flowers lore, we're going to eventually get more Celestia lore. And you know me, I love Celestia lore. Ooh, that sounds so ominous, but yes, this is the Goddess of Flowers, and this is where the trailer ends, if I'm not mistaken. This is basically just a bit of, I think this is the last part of it, where this is just a summary of everything. And just a little cool backdrop. If you observe the backdrop at the end, this is Yao Yao, this is Yunjin, this is Shen Ha, I think. Well, it looks like a tall woman with long hair. And this is Yelan. So that's pretty cool, that's pretty cool. And I think that's just a 3.4 Exquisite Chimes trailer. That's just a little bit of a breakdown from that. By the way, like when we were, that last part, a lot of people were just saying the Traveler became Jesus, and that is just hilarious to me. What is this? I am curious. What is that? I am just looking at that right now, and I was so curious. Like when they were explaining that in the actual live stream, I was still so confused. So I'm glad to see that Genshin has a bunch of combat events. I'm really hoping that they have a bunch of combat events, and the Almighty Arataki Extraordinary and Exhilarating Extreme Battle Brawl. So we're going to probably see Ito and I hope we see Ayato. I hope we see Ayato. Ayato would be really cool to see here. I hope so. I can't remember if they told us that we will. It's been a couple of days since that happened. So we have Second Blooming. We have Overflowing Mastery, which are for the books. Okay. Oh, we have the new skins. Very cute. Very cute. All right. So that's basically the 3.4 trailer for the Exquisite Night Chimes. And there's actually not a lot of lore. I did watch the trailer for Xiao and for al-Haytham's character teaser. I don't actually have that much to say besides the fact that Xiao's trailer was really, really cool. Like, just in terms of animation style, but let me tell you what I'm talking about before somebody tells me that I'm crazy. Let me pull that up for you guys. Endless suffering. Look at that. All right. I'm just gonna say, whoever was in charge of the animation for this one, I can definitely say that the anime is in good hands. I think this is the I don't know if this is the studio that was also in charge of the Sino versus al-Haytham fight that one time. I don't know if that was the case. This is the same animation, but because it does look like the same animation. But look at it. Because I think Genshin's animation for their character teasers don't have a lot of dynamic movement, so they needed to have another kind of format that was probably less detailed. You know, like look at it. It's not as detailed as you can see in Genshin's regular style, but it's still as cool because of how cool Xiao fights. Absolutely stellar. Absolutely stellar. Also, Hoyo really loves to have this thing with characters fighting themselves to purify any kind of evil from them, which is, you know, pretty nice, I guess. But oh boy, Genshin really loves their trends, huh? First it was Albedo, then it was Wanderer, now it's Xiao. And I think I'm missing like one other person that had to fight themselves. Ah, Raiden Shogun. I completely forgot. Raiden Shogun. Technically, it's like, it's not herself, it's like another entity altogether. Like Raiden Shogun versus A are two different creatures at this point, but you know, you get what I mean, right? Hoyo loves that kind of thing. I respect that. Also, I find it just really funny that Venti, I think, was just here to like look over Xiao. I think it was like it's so nice to see that Xiao's character story 5 has a continuation. But yes, that's actually it for me today. This is just a short kind of test run for these PNG tuber. Oh, look at Venti. Look at him, he's so cute. Your dad told me that I babysit you. Oh my god, I did not mean to laugh. But yeah, that's it for me today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, which is actually just a pretty short video because I did want to, you know, pour my thoughts of 3.4 just completely unfiltered, unscripted. And I did also want to check out to test this PNG tuber model if you guys like it, or if you guys want to see me have more content for this on stream. Maybe I might do it because I am thinking of having a bit of not really a podcasty kind of stream. I don't know. I'm just happy to be here. Fun fact, I actually haven't been playing Genshin all that much because I've been playing League of Legends. So anyway, my name is Aster and thank you for chilling with me.